Hello everyone, welcome. This is Newsflash Live. You're inside the Newsflash newsroom right here in New York. My name is Spencer Walsh. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have big developing stories that we will obviously keep you posted on. And thank you so much for joining us here. We have this in the way. We'll take care of that. And today, big breaking news on the campaign trail for the race for the 2016 President of the United States of America. And this is big news, as I'm sure you know. Donald Trump, if you haven't already seen the tape that came out yesterday, is in tons and tons of trouble. Probably one of the biggest scandals in a presidential race ever, as Donald Trump, just 2 days before the second 2016 presidential debate, has had on him a tape released where he, along with NBC's Access Hollywood reporter Billy Bush, talk about women in lewd sexual ways. Donald Trump is definitely the star of the show there, if you could call it a show. He says, quote, "If you're a star, they'll let you do anything." That's some of the quotes he said in that tape, if you haven't seen it. We can't play it, it's just beyond our capabilities. Plus, it is incredibly graphic, so we don't want to play it. But it is something we encourage you to maybe do some research about, not necessarily watch it, but if you do watch it, just be warned, it is incredibly graphic material. And that story has been released, and it is a big story, rocking the 2016 presidential elections, causing Donald Trump's faith with voters to just take a huge hit. He is in loads of trouble for this. Some shattering some of the base of his supporters, some of the Republican Party that have been with him from the beginning. Growing lists of GOP lawmakers are calling for Donald Trump to drop out. Some rescinding their endorsements. Even Mike Pence, a supporter of Trump until from the very moment he joined the ticket, he has been he can't even condemn. He has been forced to condemn the comments, and he really has taken it hard on Trump. Even just a few months ago, Donald Trump's wife, Melania Trump, has released a statement. We will get to what that is if we're just getting some news in here. Yeah. And a little bit today, as we're just getting tons and tons of information surrounding the story. Now that one thing's coming out, tons of news is breaking, one by one. It's just all pouring out, kind of in a way. So pretty much, here's kind of like the timeline of events. So last night, after the video was released around mid-afternoon, then that's when pretty much everything kind of started to happen in succession. Craziness, things just started blowing up. Statements were released, and Twitter was exploding. Social media was exploding, and finally, of course, Donald Trump was forced to release a video statement saying, quote, "I apologize to any of those who have been offended." But the interesting thing is, most people are saying it wasn't too much of a sincere apology, because just after that, he then subsequently went out and blasted Hillary Clinton's wife, Bill, for saying, quote, "far worse things to him on the golf course." So, I mean, many people are viewing it as not such a sincere apology. But it'll be interesting to see the way it all shakes out in the upcoming presidential debate, which is Sunday night or tomorrow night. So, I mean, you just can't. It's actually in 29 hours if you really get the clock up here, and it is crazy, some of the things that are happening now. So pretty much the statement was released on midnight, and by early Saturday morning, many Republican lawmakers, including Paul Ryan, have condemned the comments of Trump in that video, the actions of Trump, very seriously. Even Mike Pence. And the interesting thing is, Paul Ryan and Donald Trump were scheduled to speak in a big party unity, outdoor, open, huge event. Um, Paul Ryan was so sickened by the comments of Donald Trump that he revoked his invitation to the event. That's how big things are. That's how big things are going on right now. And we're getting just one interesting tidbit after another. RNC member has said, quote, "We are stuck, and so is Mike Pence," suggesting that Mike Pence isn't too happy about the situation he's been forced to be in since joining Donald Trump's ticket either. So yeah, we are just getting tons and tons of information in. Stay with us here, and there has been the most interesting thing here is that there has been multiple calls for Donald Trump to resign. He said, quote, "There is zero chance I will quit. What I do is I win, and I don't do anything else. I've never quit anything in my life." So he is laying down the hammer when it comes to that sort of a thing. No doubt about it. Even though many lawmakers are calling for him to quit, saying the time has come to step aside and let a more viable competitor, Mike Pence, who many say won the vice presidential debate against Hillary Clinton's VP pick, Tim Kaine, to take the stage against Hillary for the presidency. Many people are giving him criticism, and yeah, there's just a timeline of craziness going on right now. We'll get you more information in a minute. This is Newsflash live in the New York newsroom. Stay with us. You are just now, they're looking at some pictures from CNN as this intense debate continues, and firestorm between people who are offended, which is most, and people who still are supporting Donald Trump. And this is causing major shockwaves, obviously, throughout the GOP and the Republican Party, which is obviously a pretty big deal, as Donald Trump's campaign was teetering on Saturday after a release of the video in which he obviously speaks to women in the vulgar sexual terms, as you know. Here are some of the quotes from the people who have still have now left support of his campaign. This Representative Charles Dent, Republican of Pennsylvania, said on Saturday that his party, which has been helping the Trump campaign financially, organizationally, should no longer defend the indefensible. He urged the party to abandon Donald Trump. Here is Donald Trump's tweet: "The media and establishment want me out of the race so badly. I will never drop out of the race. I will never let down my supporters." Hashtag MAGA. Obviously, that's Make America Great Again. That's his tweet, and the last part there, starting with "I will never drop out," is in all capital letters. So he obviously feels very, very strongly about this, that not if he has anything to do about it, he will never drop out, which is almost, to be, in all honesty, does kind of sound scary. Like, I will never drop out. Like, what happens if he loses, right? So, yeah, that's definitely a little bit, kind of teeth chattering there. But, yeah, he just tweeted that out. I will never drop out. So, he, for the most part, will stay in the Republican Party, despite calls for the RNC to abandon Donald Trump and for Donald Trump to step aside and, quote, give a more viable candidate and Mike Pence a try. He said, quote, this is Charles Dent speaking, "The priority for the Republican Party has to be protecting our congressional majorities," he said, as they want to keep control of the House and the Senate, which is, according to many GOP officials, something that they are legitimately worried about with Trump's comments. And how can these people stay by Trump? And yeah, in an unprecedented and extraordinary statement from a running mate, Governor Mike Pence of Indiana indicated that he supported Mr. Trump, but that he was highly displeased from what he heard on the video. He said, quote, "As a husband and a father, I was offended by the words and actions described by Donald Trump in the 11-year-old video released yesterday. I do not condone his remarks and cannot defend them." This is huge, coming obviously from a running mate who's supposed to stand by, and support Donald Trump no matter what. And he obviously is very unhappy. Referring to Trump's videotaped apology he released at around midnight last night, he said, "I am grateful that he has expressed remorse and apologized to the American people. We pray for his family and look forward to the opportunity he has to show what is in his heart when he goes before the nation tomorrow night." Mr. Trump, in a brief telephone interview Saturday, shrugged off the calls to lead the presidential race, saying he would never drop out of the race in a million years. So he said, nope, that will not be happening. He said that, according to the Washington Post, quite aggressively. And the Wall Street Journal. Far from sounding shaken, Mr. Trump insisted he will win the presidency. He said, "Oh yeah, we can win. We will win. We have tremendous support. I think a lot of people underestimate how loyal my supporters are." That's what he said. He also said, "I'm doing fine, focusing on the debate, getting ready, focused on talking to voters." And it's interesting to see, according to some reports from those reporters who are now outside Trump Tower, just keeping an eye on Trump Tower after the huge scandal, that they're saying that Donald Trump is not preparing for the debate, but he is in fact in full crisis management mode with campaign leaders Rudy Giuliani and Steve Bannon and Kellyanne Conway doing their best to try to just bunker down this campaign that now it is in fact, full crisis mode. The video released on Friday, obviously recorded in 2005. You know what it shows already. In response, released on video after midnight Saturday, Trump said, quote, "Anyone who knows me knows these words don't reflect who I am. I said it was wrong, and I apologize." So it looks like he is owning it. We don't know what he really feels, how remorseful he shows, being the fact that he just pretty much directly after went on to attack Hillary Clinton. So I do not know. "I pledge to be a better man tomorrow and will never, ever let you down." Before ending on the message on a defiant note, promising to bring up the sex scandals of Bill Clinton's presidency and Hillary Clinton's response to them in this upcoming debate or at some point in the future. So, yeah, those are some of the comments from Trump. But for many in the party, they're not taking Donald Trump's apology, not by any stretch of the imagination. It amounted to a breaking point for many in the GOP, which is huge because a very divisive campaign within the GOP that needs the GOP support to win this election is starting to lose it. This can't continue, said, quote, "This can't continue," close quote, Senator Mike Lee of Utah said, appearing anguished in a video he posted on Facebook. Mr. Trump, he said, I respectfully ask you, with all due respect, to step aside, step down, and we're assuming let Mike Pence take control. In Alabama, a deeply conservative state, some elected Republicans said they can no longer support Donald Trump and urged him to, in fact, leave the race, which is an incredibly bold statement here. Mr. Trump's behavior makes him unacceptable as a candidate for president. I won't vote for him. Representative Martha Roby of Alabama said, Hillary Clinton must not be president, but with Trump leading the ticket, she will be. And even Senator Shelley Moore Capito of West Virginia, one of Mr. Trump's strongest states, said she was taken back by the nominee's behavior, adding that he should consider what is best for the party. Next step may be for him to re-examine his candidacy. That is huge, huge words from Donald Trump. And, yeah, so that is very shocking. Because the thing is, no one really would expect that. No one would really see that coming. And it is quite unprecedented in a presidential campaign. Jim Hobart, a Republican pollster, said the disclosure of Mr. Trump's 2005 comments would have hit him especially hard with a critical group that largely opposes him, suburban women. He and other Republicans said the uproar placed immense pressure on Mr. Trump to demonstrate on Sunday in his second debate with Ms. Clinton that he is capable of true contrition and the sort of presidential temperament that most Americans believe he lacks. Tomorrow's debate performance is everything, Matt Borges said, the chairman of the Ohio Republican Party. If there's a chance to recover it, that's it. So this is the big shot, the one shot. The stakes could not be higher for Donald Trump to get his campaign, once again, get it back on track, and that's definitely the big thing right now. So yeah, but many in the party have concluded that Mr. Trump is in fact a surefire loser. According to the New York Times 2016 election forecast, Hillary Clinton has 83% chance of winning the presidency. That is the chance now, leaving Donald Trump with only a 17% chance. That's pretty slim. So yeah, in case you don't know, this is new information coming in. He said, quote, in what was yet another tweet of defiance towards the mainstream media and most people who are absolutely ripping him for his comments, that, quote, the media has always wanted me out of this race so badly. I will never, the establishment, this is actually, I believe, what the actual tweet was here. And this kind of plays well, again, to that small, about 50% of the Republican Party that is kind of anti-establishment and kind of like the fringe Republicans who are very, very pro-Trump. Trump calls out the establishment in this tweet, saying, quote, "The media and establishment have wanted me out of the race so badly." And then he goes on to say, in caps, "I will never let my supporters down and never drop out of the race." So there you have it. Not voting for Trump on the Republican side: Senator Ben Sasse, Senator Mark Kirk, Senator Mike Lee, Representative Barbara Comstock, Representative Mike Kaufman, Senator Kelly Ayotte, Representative Jason Chaffetz, Governor John Kasich, Carly Fiorina, John Thune, Senator Joni Ernst, and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Those are all typically Republican people who have now denounced their support for Donald Trump. Yeah, that's a pretty big list. That is, in fact, 12 people who have come out to denounce Donald Trump. Some of them business people, some of them actors like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but most of them are people in Donald Trump's own party. The GOP have come out and said that they will not at all endorse Donald Trump, as growing lists of GOP lawmakers said to Donald Trump, drop out. So that is pretty big. We'll see if anyone else comes out now to denounce Donald Trump, but no one other than the people we just named, and we'll continue to name, have said it. No new real denouncements yet. Alright, so let's see. Bill Clinton has actually abused women, and Hillary has bullied, attacked, and shamed his victims, Mr. Trump said in a video apology he released last night. We will discuss this more in the coming days, which is also very big because it could mean he could discuss them at some point in the debate. Others in the party, though, have expressed hope late Friday and Saturday that they would no longer have to discuss Mr. Trump much in the coming days. So yeah, this is the quote from the person we just talked about, one of the people actually we just talked about, Representative Barbara Comstock of Virginia, facing a competitive re-election in an affluent suburban Washington area district, excoriated her party's standard bearer and urged him to withdraw his candidacy. And that's the big thing. So many people are worried about. So many people are, in fact, worried about this in the GOP. RNC people, GOP people, they want their Senate. They want to control the Senate and the House, and they need to keep that. They need to keep that even in the way it is, and because they both right now, the Republicans control all of Congress, and they want to keep that way. So anyway, here is what Representative Comstock said. She said, quote, "This is disgusting, vile, and disqualifying," adding Mr. Trump should step aside and allow our party to replace him with Mike Pence or another appropriate nominee for the Republican Party. This is, again, tons of people now denouncing Donald Trump and urging him to disqualify. Another House Republican facing a difficult re-election, Representative Mike Kaufman of Colorado, also demanded this Mr. Trump and his campaign, calling the nominee's defeat almost certain. An array of Utah Republicans, including Gary Herbert and Representative Jason Chaffetz, withdrew their support. Let's see, also, yeah, I mean, it was once unthinkable that any Republican nominee, no matter who they are, would have trouble carrying this state, and which is heavily conservative and Mormon. But it seems that Mr. Trump, with a wide array of Colorado Republicans denouncing him, he might have some trouble doing that. That might be a big problem. It is unclear that even those stern rebukes of Mr. Trump will be enough to spare other Republicans political backlash. Democratic candidates and lawmakers have insisted that such a late rejection of Mr. Trump amounts to a hollow gesture, given the mountain of crude and offensive pronouncements Mr. Trump has offered since announcing the president, and there have been a lot. Let's see. Senator Claire McCaskill, Democrat of Missouri, had this to say about this. When will elected Republicans, especially Republican women, quit apologizing for their miserable excuse for a leader? Senator Claire McCaskill, that's what she said. I'm confident they also find this disgusting. It appears most of them do. Many Republicans were closely watching the actions of two elected party members who faced competitive races this year. Senators Kelly Ayotte of New Hampshire and one of the most prominent women of the party, and John McCain of Arizona, the former prisoner of war and presidential nominee, and the object of Trump's comments or offensive comments in the past, calling him not a war hero because he was captured, sharply criticized Mr. Trump for his language in the video. Of course, as I'm sure you may know, John McCain is obviously not a big fan of Donald Trump, and he has been known to denounce him in the past, but Mr. Trump was already plummeting in the polls last week, unnerving Republicans who were watching independent voters flee from his candidacy after his disastrous first debate was worsened by a prolonged diatribe about the weight of a beauty queen. He is prepared more rigorously for the second debate, allowing Governor Chris Christie of New Jersey to pepper him with questions designed to unnerve him, but nothing as jarring as the explosive disclosure of the graphic audio tape. So here's Betty D. Montgomery and what she had to say about this. Former Republican Attorney General in Ohio predicted Mr. Trump's comments would make a huge difference in dissuading her state's remaining undecided female voters from supporting his candidacy. Going on right now in Elkhorn, Wisconsin, Scott Walker is currently speaking in a Republican unity event. This is the event, and this is pretty interesting. This is the event that Donald Trump and Mike Pence, who said this about the Trump video, quote, "As a husband and father, I was offended by the words and action described by Donald Trump in the 11-year-old video released yesterday. I do not condone his remarks and cannot defend his what he said. And I'm grateful to the American people, and I hope he will pretty much redeem himself," is what he was saying, as I'm paraphrasing here. Tomorrow night on the debate stage, Donald Trump just tweeted, "I will never drop out." But this is the interesting thing. What he said was in this thing right now is Scott Walker in Elkhorn, Wisconsin, the big Republican National Party unity event that Donald Trump, before these comments, was supposed to appear at. Then everything kind of fell apart, and Donald Trump was disinvited when these comments surfaced. Mike Pence was supposed to show up anyway, but it appears now, for reasons that we do not yet know about, he will not show up. So yeah, we just don't really know what's happening with that. But Scott Walker and Paul Ryan will be, Scott Walker speaking now, Paul Ryan, the Republican Speaker of the House, will be, in fact, speaking shortly. We will carry that audio and, we do believe, video for you right here on Newsflash Live. As we have some more quotes here. It just makes me so angry and more certain of where I am. Ms. Montgomery, who previously said she would not support Donald Trump. So yeah, that was what they had to say there. Alright, so coming up next, we get you more stories on this huge Donald Trump fallout. We also cover for you the event going on, the Republican National Unity event going on in Wisconsin, where the Republicans attempt to unite their party without their nominee. This is Newsflash Live. We will be right back after this. This is now Paul Ryan speaking for the first time about the elephant in the room, Donald Trump. Let's listen.
That are fighting for us, candidates like our Senator Ron Johnson. You know, what matters in elections is, are we giving people real choices? 7 people out of 10 people in America, 7 out of 10 people in America, they don't think this country's on the right track, do they? 7 out of 10 people, they think that their kids are going to be worse off in this country. We have never done that before in this country. We have never given the next generation a darker future. We have always stepped up and fixed the problems in front of us in our generation so that our children and our grandchildren can be better off. And you know what? You know what we're doing about it in the House? You know what we're doing about it as conservatives? We are offering people a better way. We are offering solutions. I tell you what, last January we got together and we said, we need to take an agenda to the country. We need to show men and women in America, those 7 out of 10 people, that's not just Republicans, that's not just independents, that's Democrats also. They need to have solutions, and we're offering them. Let me tell you a few things. Number 1, 6 plans. Go to better.gop. 6 things. We have got to get people out of welfare and back into the workforce. Our welfare system isn't working. Our welfare system tells people to stay out of work. We need to get people back into work so they can get on the ladder of life, so that they can reach their dreams. We're showing you exactly what welfare reform looks like. So you know what? Second thing.
All right, we're going to continue monitoring Paul Ryan speaking live in Elkhorn, Wisconsin. He came out on stage and he said there is an elephant in the room. I put out a statement about it last night. That is how I felt, and that is still how I feel. But then he moved on and he said, we're not here to talk about that. We are here to talk about ideas. Back with me is my panel, and also Jason Carroll is live there in Elkhorn, Wisconsin. Let me, before I go to Jason, David Gergen, this is the highest ranking elected